Hello students, welcome back to my channel CBSE English by JRB sir. Today in this video we are going to discuss an interesting poem, that is Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. So the title itself is indicating some message: keeping quiet, being silent. Why should we be silent, and what is the purpose of being silent? That is what the main concept of this poem. Let us go through the poem, and before going to that, please subscribe to my channel. And here it is, I'm going to tell you about Pablo Neruda, who is the writer of the poem. Pablo Neruda was born in 1904 and died in 1973. He is the pen name of Neftali Ricardo Reis Basalto, who was born in the town of Ferrol in Chile. See, he is called as Chilean poet because he was born in Chile. So Pablo Neruda is not his original name. Neftali Ricardo Reis Basalto was the original name, but Pablo Neruda is the pen name of this man. And Neruda's poems are full of easily understood images which make them no less beautiful. That means which makes them beautiful. No less beautiful means looks beautiful. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. He is the Nobel laureate. That's why his poems are preferred here. In this poem, Neruda talks about necessity of quiet introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. Quiet introspection. Quiet introspection means here self-searching, soul-searching. We have to search for our soul, because every time soul says, hey, it is wrong, you shouldn't do like that, but we never listen to it. After saying for some time, what happens? Soul stops saying it and it leaves us. So what we have to do is we have to search for our soul. Quiet introspection. Introspection means inspecting ourselves. We have to inspect ourselves. Are we doing right things? Are we going in the right path? That is what we have to introspect. Okay, quiet introspection is required for the human beings nowadays, because there are so many destructions. And here, wars. People are fighting wars, Ukraine and Russia war, or Palestine and Israel war, and the war between India and Pakistan. All these are the wars that going on because of the lack of understanding. Okay, that is required. Quiet introspection is required before doing all these things, and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. Mutual understanding. This is the main concept. Quiet introspection, right? And mutual understanding among the human beings. So this is required. If this mutual understanding is there, no war is fought. Remember this. No war is fought. So this is the main concept of this poem, Keeping Quiet. What is the main concept? Quiet introspection, that is soul searching, and the other point is mutual understanding among the human beings. Let us see what's in the poem. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. Here the writer has selected, he is instructing us, the poet is instructing us, I'm going to count to up to 12 and we will keep still. Okay, 12. Why he has mentioned the number 12? So number 12 indicates the time in the clock. That is why I had taken number 12. Now we will count up to 12 and we will all keep still. So the writer, the poet is telling that we are going to count up to 12. After that we will keep still. So it is, this poem has universal appeal. Universal appeal in the sense is requesting all the people in the universe, not the people in India, not the people in Telangana, or not the people in Madhya Pradesh, not the people in America, not the people in some other areas. Okay, everyone is requesting, every citizen of the global situation. Remember this. See, we will count up to 12. We will count to 12 and we will all keep still. The writer is telling, yes, we will count up to 12 and then we will keep still. Why should we keep still? That is what the concept here. Why should we maintain the silence for a while? Because we have misunderstandings. So to get the understanding, we have to be silent. That's what. So in the process, what we have to stop. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let us stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. The writer is requesting us not to speak in any language. Generally, we do works with our mouth, with our legs, and with our arms. So when we stop doing all these things, everything will be quiet. Not only that, it would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a certain strangeness. The writer is telling that For once on the face of the earth, let us not speak in any language. Let us stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Let us stop speaking in any language. Let us not speak. Let us not move our legs. Let us not move our arms. Okay? Let us not move our arms. So, it would be an exotic moment if all the human beings in the world stop their activities at once and start thinking. It would be an exotic moment, really, right? It would be really, really a rare moment, without rush, without engines. So here in this paragraph, the writer had asked us not to speak in any language, not to move our legs, not to move our arms. Here the writer is suggesting us not to move or not to run any engine. So everything should be stopped. Everything should be stopped. If we stop like that, it would be really a great and rare moment for the human beings. And in that silence, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. We would all be together. The writer is requesting unity among the people in the universe. That is what the main concept. So, for once on the face of the earth, nobody should speak, nobody should move their legs, nobody should move arms, and there should be no rush, there should be no engine. If we do all these things, it is really a rare moment, and we will all be together in a sudden strangeness. Yes, everything is stopped. Then what happens? Okay, everything is stopped. Everybody stop doing the activities. In that silence, what people will think? That is what the main question here. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Here, cold sea is actually transferred epithet. Okay. Okay. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Here, the powerful man would not oppress the weak person. That is the main concept. And the literal meaning is that people are always trying to catch fish so that the aquatic species are damaged, ecological imbalance is maintained. So we are thinking that we are earning, but we are damaging ourselves. We are damaging our own environment. That is one way. And the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. The man who is always in mad hunt of money, so he is always gathering salt for what? To sell it and to get money. But he is not caring for his hurt hands. Though his hands are hurt, he is not caring. Okay, but at least now in the silence, the fishermen who are catching fish extensively would look at their relationships. That means they would not catch fish more, and thus they would not harm whales. That here whales indicate the species, aquatic species. And the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands, means the man who is always in mad hunt of money would look at his hurt hands. His hands were hurt because of dealing with salt. That is one literal meaning. The other meaning is that the man who is always in mad hunt of money had lost relationships, had broken relationships with the fellow beings, friends, relatives. At least in the silence, he would look at his broken relations. Oh my God, in the mad hunt of money, I'm always going away from my friends, relatives, parents, and all. At least in the silence, I have to, yes, rebuild my relation. Thus, he would look at his hurt hands, is that is, look at his broken relations. Some people are there who are always busy with their business. They don't care for their parents, they don't care for their children, they don't care for their friends. Okay, at that time, what happens? They are completely away from the society, mainstream society. So their hands are hurt. That means their relationship is hurt here. That is what you have to know, right? That is the main purpose. The writer is requesting everybody to be silent. And the next one, those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers. The people who are always fighting, okay, those who prepare green wars, green wars in the sense wars for natural resources. Here, our all the wars are fought for natural resources only, mostly just to satisfy the egos of the rulers. Okay, that is what green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire. Okay, and victory with no survivors. People always fight by machine guns or some bombs or some nuclear bombs. If we do all these kind of things like that, of course one person might get victory. See, nowadays Gaza war, that is Israel war, so Gaza is no more. Okay, Completely Gaza is distracted. If you see the pictures of that Gaza, you see that there is no human being everywhere, distracted buildings, collapsed buildings, you can see. That is what the main concept here. So people may get the victory, but there will be no survivor. There will be no survivors. In Gaza, there is no survivor. Everyone is dead, right? And would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers. So if this silence is maintained, people at least would think about their fellow beings. They just introspect them. What is this war? Why should I fight this war? And why should I kill the other fellow being? So they think, if they think, what would happen? They would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers. Here, brothers means universal brotherhood. That is, with their brothers means here the opposite enemies. Whenever they think, whenever they are silent, in the silence, they think, they introspect themselves, they introspect their deeds, and then they stop doing all this destruction. They do not fight this. Okay. And thus, after thinking, what would happen? They would put on clean clothes. Clean clothes indicate here the pure heart to forgive everyone. Okay, pure heart to forgive everyone, and walk about with their brothers in the shade, in the peace. Shade in the sense peace, doing nothing in the sense destructing no one, killing no one. It is called universal brotherhood. Okay, so people must think, the warriors who are fighting wars must think, why should I kill the other fellow beings just for the sake of the ego of the other person, whoever it may be? That is what we have to think. I'm not blaming one side, both the sides. So maybe India or Pakistan, maybe Israel or Palestine, maybe Ukraine or Russia. They have to think once. Then this kind of things would not happen. In the shade, they would not do anything. So shade indicates peace. Okay. And the writer is trying to suggest us, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. The writer is telling that, see, I am telling you to be silent and to be inactive. So don't get confused. I am asking you to be silent, physically silent, mentally, you should be very active. Physical inactivity doesn't mean that mental inactivity. You have to think, mentally, you have to be active. What he's trying to say is, life is what it is about. Life is what it is about means God gives you everything, whether you fight or whether you run, when you rush, even if you rush, God is trying to give you everything. Life is what it is about. For example, I'll tell you one thing. During Corona, what happened? Most of the people did not work, but could they sustain or not? That's what you have to think. That is what the writer is telling. Life is what it is about. That means life will go on, whether you rush, whether you walk, whether you sit somewhere. It will go on. I want no truck with death. The writer's point of the perspection is that I want no truck with death. Means people in the war should not get death. Because of the wars, because of these misunderstandings, people are, okay, getting their death. Getting death means here they are killed. Okay, I want no truck with death. Here, people during World War I and World War II, people's dead bodies were carried in trucks. Okay, some dead bodies were thrown here and there, unable to supply. That is what the civil war, the writer had experienced the civil war. So here during that civil war, what happened? Dead bodies were carried away in trucks. That is what his intention. I want no truck with death. Means no war should happen, no life should be lost. That is what his intention. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Here, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, that's what. See, every time we are always ready to do this and that, but we are not at all thinking about our lives and the consequences of our activities. See, and about keeping our lives moving. Every time to keep our lives moving, we want to do something. That's what our single-minded attitude. We have to work, we have to work, we have to work. But, and for once could do nothing. And for once could do nothing. So if you don't do anything for a while, what would happen? In that silence, perhaps it would be a great silence. All the people could stop doing their things, and perhaps that huge silence might interrupt the sadness. Might interrupt the sadness. What sadness we have? Of never understanding ourselves. Of never understanding ourselves. That is what the main concept. If we stop doing all the things for a while, this huge silence might interrupt the sadness. Means we have the sadness of never understanding ourselves. Misunderstanding is the sadness among us. This misunderstanding will be wiped out if you stop for a while and introspect your activities. That is why keeping quiet. You have to be silent and never understanding ourselves. And we have misunderstanding. What is the result of that? And of threatening ourselves with death. This is threatening us with death. Okay, whenever there is misunderstanding, what will happen? It will threaten us. Oh my god, somebody might attack me, somebody might kill me, or somebody might chase me. This is what the threatening that we have. So of never understanding ourselves, the sadness of misunderstanding will be wiped out. Not only that, the threatening ourselves with death also will be wiped out. When it is possible, when everybody is silent and introspect themselves. Okay, so we shouldn't be single-minded every time. And next, perhaps the earth can teach us. Perhaps the earth can teach us. Means we must learn something from earth. Why? What should we learn from our earth? What should we learn? See, during the winter season, the earth seemed almost dead. Actually, in foreign countries, generally it is because of the frost. Everything seems dead. But immediately after the winter season is over, what happens? Spring season comes. In the spring season, definitely it resonates, it regains its greenery. So the same we have to learn from the earth. Yes, during this short time of silence, you may think that it is like death, but after this silent period, you are going to resonate your life. Fresh thoughts come to you, and there will be constructive thoughts. That is what perhaps the earth can teach us. We have to learn from the earth. What should we learn from the earth? I told you already. In the winter season, the earth seems almost dead because of the frost, but immediately when spring season comes, it rejuvenates its greenery. Same like that, after the silent thoughts, we will get fresh thoughts. Teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Everything seems dead during the winter season, but immediately when spring comes, it seems alive. Same like that, for a short time, if you think it is not dead, it is not like death condition, but immediately after the silent period, if you think, you are going to get fresh thoughts, constructive thoughts. There will be no misunderstanding, there will be no death. Everybody will live with understanding. Now I shall count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. The writer is telling, yes, if you do all these things, I will leave. This is my purpose of writing this poetry. So you all must have the constructive thoughts instead of destructive thoughts. So I will count up to 12 and I will leave. There ends the poem, students. That is what the main concept is: self-introspection, soul searching. Okay. In this, generally, figures of speech, what are the figures of speeches used here? I will tell you. Figures of speech. We will count 12. We will all keep still. We will. The usage of the repeating of the same phrase in the consecutive lines is called anaphora. Okay, anaphora. Okay. Next, for once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's not here. Let's not. Let's here also anaphora. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms. And it would be an exotic movement, without rush, without engines. Without rush, without engines. Here, this is also anaphora. Without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. And for fishermen in the cold sea, here cold sea is transferred epithet. Here sea is not cold. Here cold means cruel. Sea is not cruel, but the people around it are cruel. So it is transferred epithet. Transferred epithet. Would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Hurt hands. Ha sound is repeated here. So this is alliteration. The repetition of consonant sound is alliteration. And those who prepare green wars with gas, wars with again anaphora. Victory with no survivors. So okay, wars with, and again wars with. This is anaphora. Okay, victory with no survivors would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. And here, last line, perhaps the earth can teach us. Earth is not a person to teach us, but here the writer is used Earth as a teacher. So it is personification, attributing human characteristics to non-human objects. Okay, Earth can teach us. That is what the main concept. Okay, my dear students, here ends the poem. If you like my video, please subscribe, share, and like. Thank you.